working on, nope, we're good. So I'm just going to give a background of classes. We've got some new ones, which will be exciting. So I'll talk about those, talk about the different options based on age. And then we'll go over a little bit the registration process. And then we'll have time for questions at the end. But if you do have any while I'm talking, feel free to also just type it in the chat box too, in case you don't want to worry about forgetting it. And I'll get to all those at the end as well. So let me just pop my screen up here. Go. All right. So we've got our program interview. I'm Hannah. We already went over that. And the reason we are here to talk about the winter programs. So first, before I get started, our winter term is going to be starting the week of January 14th, and it's going to run for 11 weeks. And we are actually going to have all of our terms this year be a consistent amount of weeks. In the past, we've kind of, one will be 11, one will be 13, one will be 8. And we really just want to try to make that consistent moving forward. So every term this year are going to be 11 weeks. So that's exciting. Here is our schedule for the winter term. Again, so like I said, it runs January 14th through the end of March. We'll have a week off and then we'll be back. And then registration is starting for rollover. So any classes that your child is currently enrolled in starts this Friday, the 15th. And then open registration, so any new classes, any new families, that will all be open on December 20th, on Wednesday. And we'll kind of get into the registration process a little bit more later on. But here's our winter calendar. We're going to kind of go through, break it down. We do also have all of the Full Life Academy classes on there as well. But tonight we're really going to focus on the MSLE programming classes. And I believe there is another workshop for Full Life Academy if you have questions on that. And that is for the older students, age 18 and up. So we are going to dive in. So I kind of broke it down based on different categories, and we'll kind of talk through the classes. So we are going to start with social skills. We have 5 different social skills classes starting at age 6. And working all the way up into adulthood. We have one new one this year that we're really excited about. That is Youth Connect, which is going to be that combination younger co-ed social skills. So right now we have the Girl Power and Boy Zone, but we're also offering a third option that is a co-ed option, and we're making it a little bit older, starting at age 8. To kind of go for those kids that are maybe ready for some kind of more advanced discussions, working on some more social skills, but not quite ready or not of age for a Teen Connect class. So kind of just give a basic overview in these classes. They all kind of focus on a social skill of the day. There's a different lesson each week, whether it be sharing, whether it be managing emotions, turn taking, processing feelings, a wide range of things. We obviously start in the younger age, we start with more, general broad terms. And as we get into the older groups, we get a little bit more specific, like making schedules, making plans, just getting really more deep into managing emotions, what that looks like as well. So these ones are a little bit more classroom setup than some of our other ones. Still a lot of opportunities to play, socialize. But they all typically start in all of the kids are sitting either in a circle, the younger kids, or they have kind of an assigned spot at their desk. And it is kind of more of a structured lesson for the first 10 to 15 minutes. And then after that, there's a game or an activity based on that lesson of the day. And then there's a good half hour about half of the class spent with socializing, getting some time in the gym. Again, just kind of still working on those social connections and forming relationships, and just giving them an opportunity to do so. So kind of the breakdown of that, like I said, Girl Power and Boy Zone is ages 6 to 12. Youth Connect is 8 to 13. And then we move into Teen Connect, that teenage years. And then Alpha U, we offer 2 sections of it, and that is 16 and up. And we don't really have an age limit on that. We have people in their 30s in the class right now as well. And Sophie, the instructor, does a really good job of making sure that everything is age appropriate for everybody and everybody is benefiting from it. So that is a quick view of our social skills. The next classes we're going to talk about are fitness classes. So we have 3 different fitness classes right now. We have beginner fitness, which is kind of that initial, just getting used to being in the gym, getting some basic knowledge of fitness. It's still very play-based. So, a lot of times you're doing a game, you're doing an activity, and then has some free time at the end, but just kind of getting you used to exercising in a group, trying out new things, learning the form for squats and push-ups, stuff like that, but all in a fun manner. They usually do. There's usually an obstacle course involved, or some kind of game. And then there's some free time at the end for them to get to be able to use the trampoline and the foam pit, and really have that kind of socialization time in there as well. Then we also have basketball, which we don't do it as like playing 5-on-5. It's more of a skills and drills right now. So just kind of focusing on those fundamentals, learning how to dribble, learning how to pass, how to shoot, and then mixing in some fun games around that too, like around the world. We do some half court shots, making it fun as well. But really kind of focusing on those fundamentals of basketball. And then our last one is AU Fit, and that is kind of our more typical group exercise class where you're coming in, you're in the gym, you have the equipment. We use the dumbbells, we use the resistance bands, we use the benches, and that has one instructor up front, and you're doing a strength section, you're doing a cardio section, pretty typical to what a group exercise class would look like if you went to the Y or the JCC, something like that. So all of our classes we try to offer, and I've kind of, the way I've structured them writing on the slides, we try to offer a progression, so that you can start young and kind of as you get more comfortable, you gain the skills. There's always that next option for the participant to move into. So our next kind of big category is music and art. We have lots of fun things there. Again, all ages. We have youth art and music, which we are moving the age group down a little bit. We know there's a need for more younger age programming. So this one used to be 6 to 12. We're moving it down to 4 to 10, starting this term. And that's just a really fun kind of introductory, really exploratory class. It's more of a loose structure, where the facilitator they'll sing a couple of songs, they'll get to kind of try out a bunch of different instruments, but really kind of flows and goes with what the students are gravitating towards, and what they're interested in that day. And then that's usually the first half of the class. The second half, they're doing an art project, usually around a theme, whatever's going on. Then if it's Thanksgiving, turkeys. Around Christmas, we do a lot of those crafts as well. So really just a fun kind of introductory to being in a group class, getting to experience little art and music, seeing maybe if there's one that they really gravitate towards. And then again, just having kind of that free time to explore. After that, we have one of my favorite classes. It's just so much fun. The motion dynamics class. This is kind of like a sneaky workout class. You're in there, you're dancing, moving and grooving around. Alex Aletto, who's in this, she's in our picture right now. She does this class. And if you've met Alex, she's just a bundle of energy. She's always great. And she does a really good job getting a big group of kids to all just have a great time. So it's a dance class. It's a little bit maybe yoga, Pilates, there's a stretching element to it. But it's just a lot of moving around and having a good time. One of our new classes this term, we're doing a chorus class. So pretty typical to like what you would do in school, working on singing in a group, working on songs, performance songs, different people having different parts. So kind of that typical chorus experience. We thought that would be nice to bring to people to have an option there. And then another musical option, we have Drum It Up, which is a drum circle. Everybody in the class has drums. We have some of the big drums, we have little drums, we have little lollipop drums. So whatever the participant is comfortable with using, and working on just different rhythms, different songs, different beats. And it's another really fun class that people can really get involved in and be creative. And then we also have musical theater. And that one is co-taught by Alex and Victoria, our music instructor. Again, just a really fun one for people to be creative. They typically, the first class of each term, they'll decide what musical they want to focus on for that term. And then throughout the term, they'll do different activities related to it, writing monologues for characters, working on songs, coming up with dances, maybe drawing out some scenery. And then they always end it with a performance. So that's a really cool one, an option to get creative. And then two other ones we have music and movement. That one we do a little bit of both. It's kind of seated, learning about different musical instruments, different genres, different music from around the world. They usually kind of pick a theme each term, and kind of work through that. So it's, taking a step further than kind of some of those traditional music classes and exposing people to instruments that maybe they've never heard of, different songs, different genres. So really kind of just expanding that overall knowledge of it, and then getting to dance to it and kind of see how your body wants to move to those songs. So a little bit of both in that class, part learning, part moving. And again, kind of another fun one where you can just be creative. There's lots of room for creativity, and learning a bunch of new music. So, and then our last one in our music and art area is our art class for teenagers. That one, they do different mediums throughout the term. So one week they might be working on painting. The next week they might be doing some sculptures. The following week they might be doing some weaving or some sewing. So again, just kind of a really good class to just get to experience a lot of different art projects, a lot of different art mediums, and get to be creative. And actually all of them except for youth art and music right now, and at the end of term, there is a performance. So whether it's in class, so motion dynamics and musical theater and Drum It Up and music and movement, they do one at the end of their last class. So parents can come in and kind of watch and see what everybody's learned that term. And then our art students and our individual music students, we do a big recital and art show at the end of each term, which is really cool too. So not only are you learning some new skills, but you also have that opportunity to show them off at the end of the term, which is really exciting for a lot of students that maybe wouldn't have that opportunity elsewhere. So, all right. Our next category is technology. So we have a huge Minecraft program. We do in-person classes 1 day a week, and then we run it virtually 4 days a week. That's one that is super popular. The kids are really passionate about it. There are some kids that when I see them in the hall, I get maybe 2, 3 words out of them, but you see them go sit in their Minecraft class and they are just talking the whole time, talking about what they're going to build, what's going on in the game, everything like that. So that's a really fun one. It's kind of unique. Um, we
Hey,
do
Shanna.
require, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to chime in because one thing that I think puts parents at ease is to know that our Minecraft server is completely private, right? So kids
Yes.
are definitely safe.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Yep. And what was I going to say? I don't remember. I'll come back. It'll come back to me. But yeah, really fun class. They get to be creative. It's all, like Kelly said, on a safe, closed server, so they're only interacting within the AutismUp Minecraft world. They'll do like different challenges of the day. Like one day they're working on maybe building fast food restaurants, or last week they were decorating their houses for the holidays. So a lot of different kind of um, general group games to play, and then a lot of time just for them to be creative and make those social connections, and hang out. And then our other kind of technology related classes, newish to us, is youth STEM. We were formerly doing this as youth engineering for the last 2 terms, but we got a lot of good feedback from participants in our youth engineering class, and then also from some of our younger social skills, that they want to be able to do more of those messy science experiments, also more with Legos, just a lot of different options. So we changed it to use STEM, to kind of just broaden our options within what we can do, and kind of not be so narrowed in with just engineering. So I think that's going to be a really fun one for anybody that just likes technology, anybody likes to get their hands dirty, the kids that like to see how things work. I'm pretty excited for that one. I think that's going to be really fun. And then we also do have our teen and young adult engineering class, which they do more building specifically with the Lego Sparks kit. So it's a Lego set, but you can actually build it and you can code it to do different things. So they were working on like a bunny rabbit last term. They made a like a carousel. So you're building the object, but then you're also coding it to be able to do spin around or jump up and down. So really working on those kind of fine motor, executive functioning skills, and kind of those critical thinking skills of how to put things together. So that is our technology group. Our next one we have is cooking. Right now we only have a couple cooking classes. I know that is a really popular one, so that's one we're always looking to hopefully expand. But right now we have our baking time class, which is kind of that introduction into the kitchen, learning kind of those basic kitchen skills, safety skills, where things go, and then learning kind of simple recipes. So what does a cup of flour look like? How do we pour that in without making a mess, which I still haven't figured out either. But working on kind of just those basic skills, following those simple recipes, and being able to make cookies, make little appetizers, stuff like that. So not a full meal yet, working on kind of those smaller things and just getting acquainted in the kitchen and building some kind of confidence, with knowing what to do, knowing how to turn the oven on, knowing how to use the microwave, and just getting comfortable in the kitchen. And then after that, we have our cooking with friends class, which is where you come in and you are making a full meal. So Patty, our instructor in the picture, she has a different recipe each week. And all of the participants, they are helping making the meal. It's usually at least 2 courses. There's either a salad that goes with the entree, or there's a dessert that goes after it. And they make some challenging dishes. They were making chicken French last week. They've made shrimp scampi. They did they've done all sorts of things. So it's really good opportunity to, continue to work on those kitchen skills, even following even more challenging recipes, multi-step recipes. And then a big aspect of it is once the food is ready, everybody gets their food, they sit down and they have the meal together. So you have that opportunity to sit down, um, catch up with their friends. A lot of people have been in these classes for a while. They've been able to form good relationships. So it's that time to just kind of sit down with your friends, chat about your day and things coming up that you're excited about. And then our next category, which we have a lot of different sections of, is our sensory and regulation classes. So this is mainly our exploring sensations classes. These start at 3 years old. So that's really a good entryway for young kids to get in. It is unique to all of our other classes in which staff are working one-to-one with each participant. In most other classes, we have um, usually like 2 to 5 support coaches in a class of 8 to 10, but with ES, you're working one-to-one. And it is not structured. It's really guided by what the participant wants to do, what kind of goals they're looking for. And they kind of have what we do is we set the gym up. We strategically put a lot of puzzles, a lot of different balancing objects, some different games out throughout the gym, to encourage people to kind of walk around, explore, and then being able to work on all of these skills while being in an environment where they are safe and they can challenge themselves, and they can build that confidence there. So that is a really fun one. And that one always fills up super fast. But it's a really good one with working on just that sensory and regulation, and having somebody right there that they can kind of form a relationship with, and they can work with each week, and being able to improve on goals, whether it's being able to learn some new coping strategies and use them, whether it's, some people are really working on balance, working on crossing the midline. So it can really be tailored to what that specific person is looking for. And then our kind of older kids version of that is body awareness, which takes place at the same time as exploring sensations, later in our Tuesday classes. And it's still same structure. People are working one-to-one, but it is just a little bit more challenging movements. So at that point, most people have a decent grasp on, the coordination, the regulation, but it's just kind of working even more in depth on their specific goals, and being able to work with them on to feel more comfortable and confident in those areas. And those 2 classes as well are taught by, we have 2 OTs on staff. We have Felicia and Lily. On Tuesday, they're both there. And on Saturdays, Lily runs the class, but that's kind of unique. We have somebody licensed on staff, and they're not working one-to-one with somebody, so they're able to walk around and offer those guidelines and support if they notice something that somebody could work on. So really unique class, really fun one. So, and then lastly, we still do some virtual classes. This is a really good option for people, that are maybe wanting to try out a new class, but it's maybe there's a lot of anxiety with going into a new building, meeting new people. It's kind of a good way to kind of dip your toe in, get to meet some new people, but very non-threatening way. You're in your own home still, you're on the computer. It's also good, if maybe transportation can be a struggle for some people, to just be able to log on to Zoom, or even we have people that aren't in this area, and still looking to do classes. So it's a good way to do that as well. So most of them are classes that we run in person, and then we just kind of modify it for the virtual version. So our music and movement class, and our motion dynamics class, We do pretty much the same lesson plan in each one. It again is just on the computer instead. Motion dynamics, you're moving and grooving in your own space. And then music and movement again is that little bit of both where you are learning the lesson of the day, learning about new instruments, how different cultures use instruments, stuff like that. And then there's a movement piece along with that too. And then our Minecraft classes, same thing. You're working on a challenge or a build with somebody. We do have so they are playing in the Minecraft world, but then we do also have a Zoom option as well to, further encourage that that socialization and participation amongst participants. But it's not mandatory. Some people do it, some people don't. Some people, prefer to chat within the game. But we do also have that Zoom option as well. And then 2 classes that are kind of unique to our virtual classes are we have a mindfulness and relaxation class. So that is working on kind of those simple yoga poses, different calming strategies, some meditation, just ways to wind your body down, really focus in on how you're feeling, what emotions you're feeling, and kind of, be able to center yourself through different experiences. And then our last one, we do a social skills with friends. And that just really gives people a chance to just converse with people, even if you're in your house. Everybody is, they get time to share in the beginning. And then there's normally a topic of the day that the facilitator will bring up, and then kind of just encourage that conversation back and forth amongst the participants throughout the class. So, and that one we do break it down. We have 2 sections. We have a youth section from ages 6 to 12, and then we have a 13 and up section as well. So trying to keep it so that the topics can all be appropriate to everybody and everybody can feel included. And then kind of our last group of categories is we have some one-on-one classes. We offer one-to-one personal training. So we have 5 different personal trainers on staff, lot of different availability. We run them 6 days a week. We have options in the morning, we have options in the evening. And that's a good way to kind of get an introductory in if, maybe you're not ready for a group class, or somebody works better one-to-one. You're working one-to-one with a personal trainer. It's really focused on what you want to do, what your goals are. Some people have really specific goals. They want to run for their, high school cross country team. And then other people are really just focusing on adding some more movement in their day. Or maybe getting comfortable with being in a gym, learning how to use equipment so that one day they would maybe feel more comfortable going, if they were to go to the Y by themselves, they would feel confident in knowing what to do. So personal training, we do them by 30-minute sessions. Some people they'll do them back to back. They'll do an hour, or people do multiple 30-minute sessions throughout the week, or some people do one. So again, it's really flexible to what you're looking for and the goals. And then our other one-to-one options are music lessons. Right now we offer 5 different options. We do piano, we do guitar, we do voice lessons, we do ukulele lessons, and then we kind of have an exploratory class called Musician Inside All of Us, where, if maybe the person doesn't really know, they like music, but they don't really know what they're going to gravitate towards. And it's kind of just trying out a lot of different things. Maybe one day they'll try out the drums. One day, maybe they'll work with the shakers. One day, the piano. Just, whatever the person gravitates towards, and kind of using that and just kind of fostering that initial kind of interest in music, and, just kind of seeing where they're at and working with that. Those are also 30 minutes. Some people do them back to back. They'll do an hour. Some people do them a couple of times a week. Some people do them once a week. So again, really flexible to what you're looking for. And then we have 4 music instructors on staff, and we're doing lessons 6 days a week as well. both in the day and the afternoon. So whatever works for families, we can typically accommodate it. Sometimes there is a short waiting list, but we always try to move people off and fit into your schedule as quickly as possible. So I just chatted for a long time, so I will take a quick break to offer see if anybody has any class specific questions before I kind of dive into what our classes look like and kind of the registration process. So do we have any questions?
I have a question.
Mhm.
So with all the restructuring with OPWDD and like people getting denied for self-direction, my daughter's 5 and I'm told she can do a social skills class, but she's only 5 and that's for 6 and up. Is
So
she
so we can there, we put those kind of general guidelines on. We can be flexible with them. If people are 5, we've had 5-year-olds in Boy Zone before or Girl Power. Just kind of those are kind of our general guidelines. Nothing's like super set in stone.
okay?
Yep. Any other questions? All right. Well, I will keep going and then there'll be more time for questions at the end. So feel free to ask them then if they come to you. So I just real quick want to go over kind of what our classroom structure looks like and kind of planning what goes into it. So whenever we open registration, we're letting people in, we're looking at those class sizes and class makeup as we go along. So we kind of have a loose, this class maxes out at 10, but we do always look at the structure, look at who we have in the class too, to determine, maybe with this class, it's going to be better that we have 8 people in there with 4 support. So that is something that we're always constantly monitoring so that we can build the classes in a way that everybody is gonna have the most successful experience. So we look at how many support staff we need in that class. We look at the spacing that we have. We look at any like sensory help that we might need in that class. So we really do, we consider all of that when we're putting our classes together. And then support wise, all of our stuff, we go through, they do kind of an initial training, they do a sensory training, and then we're kind of always doing some on the go training so that everybody feels really comfortable in classes. They can be independent and just really provide that best support. So just a little bit on that. And then the registration process. So if you signed up for classes last term, it is going to be exactly the same. There's going to be a little thing at the end where we've moved our forms into a different portal, but the registration signing up for classes is going to be exactly the same. So the best way to do that is you are just going to go onto our website. You're going to go to the spot that says classes and workshops. And once you get there, that's where they'll all be listed. So you can read a more in-depth description about the class. That's where all the times will be listed and the prices as well. So that'll all be there. You can scroll down and see that. And then when you're ready to go to classes, you can click on the registration button and that will bring you to our registration area. It'll have all the classes listed. You can just go through, you click on the ones that you want. They're added into your shopping cart. And then once you have those, you can go ahead and check out. It's going to ask you just some basic information. And then you'll get a little pop-up at the end that says your registration was submitted. All of the registrations, they come into our system and we approve them. And then once everything is approved, we will send out an email on ways that you can go in and you can check your registration status to make sure that everything's good. If for some reason you are put on a wait list, we'll communicate that as well. And then we'll stay in communication if something opens up and we're able to get you in. And then ways that we do payments. So most of our families, they'll pay through self-direction. That's typically the easiest way. We can bill the FI directly. So you as a parent don't have to worry about it. If you don't have self-direction, we do private pay as well. So the invoice just gets sent to you, you pay it. We do recognize that, if you don't have self-direction, that classes can get expensive. So we do offer scholarships as well. So that's one, once you've kind of identified a class and you've registered for it, you can submit a scholarship application form. And then we review those and, determine what we're going to be able to award you. And we send those out to families after we've had a chance to review them. We also do, right now we only have one class. It's kind of a membership that can be covered by an OPWDD grant. That is our social night class for teens. It starts at age 13 and up. That one, if you are interested in more information, you can reach out and we'll send you the sign up form for that. That is just kind of a fun Friday night get together. You get to hang out with some friends, do some activities. They usually do different themes. So one week they did a carnival, one week they did movie night. So normally, just doing some games, some activities, and then they usually do some sort of food, whether they're making pizza or brownies, or they'll do popcorn, something like that. So that's just a fun night. That's currently the only class that we offer through our OPWDD grant. And then the last option is family reimbursement. So that is you would pay for the class, and then after you would submit that family reimbursement into one of the agencies in the area that accepts them. And then you would go through their process on getting accepted or not. So those are kind of the main ones. We're also always available to discuss payment and payment options if people have questions on that. So there is our helpline. If you ever have any questions or any need any answers, you can call the helpline. And that is all I've got. I know I gave people a bunch of information, but any questions?
I
I have a question.
Oh,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna ask the Friday night one. Is that the respite that I saw on the new form with the class schedule?
Yep. So it is, it's respite, but it's not just like a come and drop your kid off. We want it to be that way, but it's not an immediate kind of, we want to still make sure that we have, enough staff and supports, to be able to do that. So you would submit the request, sign up for it. And then we have to submit something through OPWDD. And then once that's approved, we would chat about kind of what that would look like. Most kids, since they are older, that is the reality that, it can be a drop-off situation. But again, we just want to make sure that we have the appropriate staff and support for everyone's needs.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
I did have a question. I ran into a lot of problems the last probably year or two with the rollovers. Like I couldn't get my son into a class because the same people would roll over and he was always on a wait list. And now it's like we've given up. I think it's a nice concept so you can hold your spot, but then new people never get a chance to get in if the same people are rolling over every time. And then maybe you eventually age out of a class. So I mean, do you ever have the option of maybe you allow somebody to roll over once and after that they have to register like everybody else? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and we definitely realize that that can be a frustration to new families. We've talked about, possible different ways that there may be some changes coming, but as of right now, that is still our policy. What we're really trying to do is just add more options if we are noticing classes that have a really long wait list. We're trying to add new sections of that, give more options for more people to come in. So we just added Exploring Sensations is one that we usually have a wait list on. So we were able to add a new section on Saturdays. So hopefully, that will help. We're always looking at those classes that have those really long wait lists and trying to just offer more classes. Same thing with like Boyzone and Girl Power. That Youth Connect will hopefully offer, 10 more people the chance to get into classes. So I definitely understand that is definitely a frustration. And we're looking at things. But in the meantime, we're kind of just trying to add as many slots as possible.
What's the age for Exploring Sensations?
It starts
Like,
at 3.
Is there a cap? Like, are you too old to do it, or like I have a teenager? That's why I'm
Yeah,
asking.
so usually when you hit kind of that teenage age, you move into body awareness, which is it's really similar to that class, and it is actually offered in kind of in conjunction with 2 of our ES classes. But there's no real cap on it. Typically we do have the younger kids sign up for that. But if there's somebody that is in their late teens, early 20s, that's really, needing that sensory input, working on those regulation skills, they're allowed to join as well. Any other questions? All right. Well, I appreciate everybody taking some time out of, I'm sure, their busy week. If you have